Where do you currently work?
Home.
Home?
I am independent consultant.
Awesome. And how many years have you been working in the energy industry?
You know, my full-time work in the energy industry is about 10 or 11 years. I spent a lot of time in academia prior to that, going up to my PhD. So I dabbled in the industry for the first 10 years of academia, and I've actually been in it for 10.
So, Bill, you said you got your PhD. Why did you go to grad school, and why did you get a PhD? And did you get a master's as well?
Yes, I did. My academic progression was that I went to the University of Vermont, and no one in Vermont knows there is an oil industry. Why would you? And when I finished and I enjoyed the profession of geology, I came out to Colorado State to come to a different geographic place. That's where I was introduced to the oil industry. At the time I was finishing my master's, the oil industry was going through one of its cyclical downturns, and there really weren't any jobs to be had. And it was actually at an AAPG meeting, annual convention in New Orleans, where I met my future PhD advisor. And it turned out we had some things of mutual interest. Like I said, there weren't really any jobs to be had. I was kind of unsure on what to do, so I figured I would get a PhD, and then I would have the option to teach and or come back into industry, which actually as well certainly happened.
Has your PhD served you well in industry, or have you found that you don't use it, or it's a hindrance to? Because there seems to be a stigma against getting a PhD.
There is a stigma. There's kind of a public relations issue with that. There are perceptions that a doctorate makes you unapplied, that maybe you're too research oriented. You know, in all honesty, from an educational standpoint, it's not highly necessary. I mean, I'm a better scientist for having it, but I've gotten equally as valuable training in industry. I didn't need the PhD to come in. I'm glad I got it because I think it made me much more well-rounded as a geoscientist. But I think that's a very personal decision, and it has been a bit of a ball and chain applying for jobs. It's almost the first topic of conversation sometimes in interviews is talking your way out from under.
So have you overcome that stigma? How do you find a way to talk?
For the most part, it's a personal thing. I mean, everyone's got a preconceived notion about, you know, geologists, engineers, business majors, accountants, you name it. It's just something you learn what the questions are going to be and you overcome them. You know, in any given interview, it's probably 75% personality driven and only 25% technically driven. So you just know what's coming and you deal with it.